I am focusing on the topic of racism/anti-racism in Los Angeles, California. When you hear the city, you may think of Hollywood or Disneyland. You may even think of all the celebrities that live there. But let's focus on the topic of racism in this entertainment capital of the world. What is racism? The formal definition of racism, according to Britannica, is the belief that humans may be divided into separate and exclusive biological entities called races. Believing that one group of people is better than the other because of their skin color is racist. Making stereotypes and assumptions because of someone's skin color is racist. We may have experienced racism or been racist to someone in our lives without even knowing. This hate is not something that should be normalized, nor should be tolerated. Action needs to be taken against it as soon as possible. It may not seem like it, but small actions taken by us can actually make a big difference. This issue I'm addressing is how Black women are being supported around the world. Many women experience racism, and there are organizations as well as people that can help create a better environment for them. One organization is the California Black Women's Health Project, which is a nonprofit organization located in Inglewood, California. The abbreviation for this organization is CABWHP. They focus on mental health, reproductive health, sexual health, and violence prevention for women of color. This organization's mission is to promote the individual's well-being and provide resources for the women in need. Not only do they just help women, but their families as well. Next, I would like to introduce someone named Ibram X. Kendi. He was born and raised in New York. He went to Florida A&M for college, where he got a dual bachelor's degree in journalism as well as African American studies. A couple of years later, he went to Temple University in Pennsylvania, where he got his master's and PhD in African American studies. Additionally, he's an American author and a professor at Boston University. One of his most popular books is called How to Be an Anti-Racist. This book is about adopting the mindset of being anti-racist and working to change racist policies and beliefs. By adopting this anti-racist mindset of Ibram X. Kendi and supporting the CABWHP in Los Angeles, women of color should be supported by communities and be provided with equal rights and opportunities to lessen the effects of physical and mental health on their bodies. Kendi introduces this mindset of anti-racism, and by adopting this mindset, we can work not only to be better for our community, but for ourselves as well. He wrote a book that dives deeper into this mindset called How to Be an Anti-Racist. Kendi is an author of many books, but one of his most popular books is How to Be an Anti-Racist. This book is about adopting the mindset of being an anti-racist and working to change racist policies, beliefs, and ideas. Each chapter in the book provides definitions of racism and anti-racism that help us better understand how we can work towards becoming an anti-racist. More specifically, he talks about how adapting this mindset can be beneficial for us as well because it helps us put an end to the internal racism we have in our minds. He explains how people are forced in a way to internalize and accept the standards that are set by society, which lead to racist ideas. Adopting this mindset can also help us by taking away the pressure of trying to fit in. It allows us to appreciate our culture and who we are. We learn how to view everyone as equal and not put stereotypes on people. The end of the book explains that becoming an anti-racist takes time, patience, and practice, and that it is something that we cannot rush. He explains nonverbal racism and how we can be racist through our actions and indirectly favoring one's skin color. He talks about witnessing racism at his school, seeing stereotypes placed on people of color, as well as his journey to becoming an anti-racist. The following video will further explain Kendi's anti-racist idea.
Is that the true opposite of racist isn't not racist, it's anti-racist. And so if we understand a racist idea as any notion that suggests, let's say, a racial group is superior or inferior to another racial group, what's the opposite of racial hierarchy? It's a notion of racial equality, that the racial groups are equals. If a racist policy is any measure that is leading to or maintaining racial inequity or injustice between racial groups, what's the opposite of that? A policy that's leading to equity, and justice. And if a person who is racist is constantly saying, I'm not racist, every single time they express a racist idea or support a racist policy, what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is an anti-racist saying, you know what I actually just did was racist. But now I'm going to change. Now I'm going to grow. Now I'm going to repair the damage that I'm wrought.
Yeah. To sum up the video, being anti-racist means actively working towards equality and having the mindset to challenge racist policies and beliefs. He makes it clear that the opposite of racism isn't not racist, but rather anti-racist and nothing in between. He defines racist ideas as viewing groups of people as superior and inferior to another racial group, and the anti-racist mindset would be viewing everyone as equal. In his book, he further explains how fighting against racism also means fighting against all forms of discrimination and supporting the rights of every individual, including the LGBTQ+ community. I would like you to continue to think about this new mindset and understand that the journey to adapting to this won't be easy. Adopting this mindset will allow us to create a community that is just and inclusive. We need to keep this in mind and think about how our actions affect people of color, especially women. A study conducted called Racism-Related Stress and Mental Health Among Black Women Living in Los Angeles County, California, a comparison of postpartum mood and anxiety disorder screening scales, shows how stress that is caused by racism has a substantial impact on mental health. In the study, different screening tools were used to measure how exposure to discrimination and racism-related stress, also known as RRS, affects an individual. According to the Racism and Life Experiences scale in one's daily life, the scores indicated that 80.5% of participants experienced racism a few times a year or more. Out of the 231 participants that were involved in the study, 186 of them experienced racism. Additional findings show that 37.1% of people were bothered somewhat and 19% were bothered a lot. Not only did they experience this racism, but they were also bothered by it. Imagine the percentages of people in our own communities that experience racism on a daily basis and we are unaware of it. This source explains that increased exposure to RRS is generally associated with higher postpartum mood and anxiety disorder symptoms among Black women. Some of these women were affected by this racism to an extent that their mental health is being affected as well. The study shows correlation between mental health and racism. The data from the study shows how experiences of racism contributes to one's stress level. The correlation between the two shows the importance of addressing racism to improve the well-being of the mother and even their children. Educating ourselves on how RRS can affect someone can help us create a better and stress-free community that not only would benefit these mothers but their children as well. Going back to the organization that I previously mentioned, the California Black Women's Health Project in Inglewood, California, it is a nonprofit organization which main focus is to improve the health of Black women through advocacy and education. The main values that they focus on are equity, empowerment, collaboration, change, and lastly, having a foundation that is centered around women of color. They have started fundraisers to support Black women as well as organize events. Their goal is to advocate for change in policies that negatively affect Black women. They address issues such as reproductive health, sexual health, mental health, and violence prevention. Through their practice, they would like to educate others on how they can raise awareness for the needs of these women. Additionally, this organization collaborates with companies, healthcare providers, and other organizations to help create a safer and healthier community for Black women in California. A resource center under this organization has already been established to provide housing for those of low income, as well as provide wellness activities and any other important necessities. Conversations have been made with policymakers to make the voices of the Black women heard. Through this organization, we can work to support the physical and mental health of women of color. Some ways to help are by going to events if accessible, or even just donating to their website. With Kendi's mindset of being an anti-racist and access to the California Black Women's Health Project, women of color should be supported by communities and be provided with equal rights and opportunities to lessen the effects of mental and physical health on their bodies. To close, I want you to think differently about racism and educate yourself on the effects it can have on people. I want you to focus on your actions and educate yourself on how to be anti-racist or how you can better yourself to create a just and equal community for others. It is important to understand that racism is a result of both cultural structures and personal stereotypes. I want people to pay more attention to how racism can impact people's lives and mental health. Being aware and educating yourself about these facts can allow people to come together as a group and work towards making a change in the discrimination people of color face. With this, I hope that you can reflect on your own biases that you may have and take steps to have a better mindset. Adapting to an anti-racist mindset takes time and it won't happen overnight. Committing to this mindset can create long-term changes to our world that can benefit our lives and future generations to come. You can visit the website for the organization by simply typing in their name and clicking the first link that pops up. You can also follow them on Instagram and get live updates with events and fundraisers that they have going on. If you are unable to donate, you can share their page on your social media to spread awareness and share with others the actions of this organization. Any small actions we take are still big victories because we are striving to promote a society where diversity is valued and appreciated.